desert does not normally quench a man's thirst. Today, for two drivers, it will. This is the race that determines who will race for NASCAR's biggest championship. And on one of our nation's most important weekends, it's fitting that veterans of our military set the stage.
What is perseverance?
It's not giving in, not giving up.
It's not fearing adversity and not freaking out when things start to go wrong.
You could be talking about a race, a battlefield, your life, whatever.
It's about getting up, fighting, refusing to go quietly, even when that feels like the hardest thing in the world.
You just put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
If success were easy, then everyone would be successful.
That's why hard work, dedication, focus, all those things that people say are important,
They really are important.
Really important.
quitting's the only thing that's easy.
You learn that real fast in our world.
Because when you're in a place where there doesn't seem to be any way out,
When your back's to the wall,
The easy thing to do is not press forward, to not have the guts to accept whatever the challenge is.
but the hard thing to do is survive.
to hang on when others might quit, to push past the fatigue and the fear and just keep going.
Realizing that if you survive, if you battle and struggle and simply refuse to give in, you'll look at the whole ride in a different way.
For these guys, at this point, winning is about scratching and clawing and pushing.
And doing whatever they have to do to win.
Hey, they didn't get here without that spirit, that refusal to be denied.
That refusal to surrender, no matter what they went through.
But the work isn't done yet.
It's not even close to done.
So now is when you dig in a whole new way.
Now is when you realize it's all right there.
So close, you can smell it. You can taste it. You can feel it.
But to get there, to get all the way to the top of the mountain,
It takes everything you've got.
and not a single ounce less.
So you never back down
You never give up.
You never relent
till the day is won.
until the day is won.
Till the day is won.
Welcome to NASCAR Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic, as we get ready to go racing.
Well, you'd better be fired up now. Words and voices from our nation's military setting up the scene for today's semi-final race. Welcome to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic on NBC. These are the final moments for these drivers before they strap in and race for a chance at the championship. Here with Kyle Petty, Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett, and this, Dale, is what sports is all about.
You've got it, Krista. If you're a competitor in a major form of sports and you're looking to move into the finals, you got to get through the semifinals first. And that's today, right here in Phoenix. And you can do that if you're one of these 6 drivers just by winning this race this afternoon. Sounds easy? Going to be extremely hard to do. But make no mistake about it, that there's going to be 4 drivers extremely disappointed. They're not a part of that next week, but they're all going to give it their best effort here this afternoon.
Yeah, what a great essay that was. The work isn't done. The work isn't done. And that's a fact. 4 of these guys can see their second championship laying at homestand. 4 of these guys can see their very first championship. But 4 of these guys are not going to make it out of this round and leave this race with that dream still alive.
And it all happens today. Let's recap what these guys are racing for. It's what's on the menu, presented by Sonic. So today in Phoenix, a sold-out crowd will see which drivers claim the last 2 spots in the championship 4. The first 2 tickets were claimed by Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. Both will go for their second titles next week in Miami. They have advanced with wins in this round. Kyle Busch hopes to join them there. He starts on the pole today, seeking a 3rd straight win in the desert. Imagine that. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, the 2 drivers in position to advance to Miami, where they were last year. They start on the front row today. Kyle Larson starts 5th, but sits 23 points behind the cut line. That deficit could have been smaller if not for a controversial moment last week.
Bubba Wallace couldn't spin out and then did spin out.
Bunch of cars on pit road. Going to hurt their track position for sure. I think he's trying to spin it out. See what NASCAR has to say about that.
What really killed our race was the 43 spinning on purpose.
So are you worried about anything? Or
Like what? Until they do anything, no.
Bubba Wallace fined $50,000, 50 points for admitting that he brought out that caution in Texas.
It's a judgment call, and it's a call that we would like to not have to be able to make.
NASCAR stepping in just yesterday. You saw the penalty for Bubba Wallace, $50,000, the 50 driver points. Kyle Larson joined us on NBCSN after the penalty was announced yesterday. He said he wasn't mad at Bubba, but was surprised at how strong that penalty was. Are you surprised, Dale?
No, I think NASCAR had to send a message. If you're not going to be any smarter than to admit what you did there whenever NASCAR couldn't figure it out last week, put them in the position if you have to do it. Look, this is something that since the NASCAR racing was started, that people have brought out caution for different reasons for themselves. And as Bubba said, he was in that race for himself. But don't admit it. I know we're in a world where everybody thinks that they have to say everything that they know and everybody wants to hear. Keep your mouth shut in this situation.
Yeah, I agree with Dale. Let sleeping dogs lie. It's a week later. I don't like the way it was handled. I don't like the penalty. That's personally. I don't like the severity of the penalty. But at the same time, a lot of this he brought on himself by admitting it and continuing the conversation.
All right, so let's move forward. That was last week. This week, Kyle Larson only concerned with racing his way into the championship picture. While he is on the outside of the points, he is the one who may use the outside line of this track to catapult him into the championship four. He spoke with Parker Kligerman.
Kyle Larson comes in this race 23 points below the cut line. I was speaking to your crew chief, Chad Johnson. He told me it's a must-win for you guys. Do you agree, and how do you achieve that?
Well, I mean, if the 18 and the 22 don't have issues, then yeah, it's a definite must-win. But as we all saw with the 11 last week, anything can happen, and it's a big point swing if they do have issues. So it can be a tough racetrack. Restarts are crazy, so you never know what might happen. So just want to keep ourselves in contention and feel like we have a car good enough to challenge for a win if you happen to still be up front late in the race. So been happy with our Clover Chevy so far. Just gotta work hard and execute the day like we need to.
How much risk are you willing to take in your quest to go to Miami? In terms of, I know at Martinsville you guys stayed out and stole some stage points there. You had to play a lot of defense. Your crew chief Chad said he doesn't like putting you in that position, but feels like you can rise the occasion. Do you like the idea of taking a lot of risk in this race?
Well, I think if it presents itself, yeah, you need to. If there's some stage points out there to be gained, yeah, I mean, you can close the gap on them pretty quickly. So, but you never really know. You can't plan for that, before the race starts. You just kind of, if the caution falls, you can be aggressive or not and try and position yourself for late in the race. So that's what makes Phoenix fun. There's not a lot of tire wear here, so you can kind of go outside the box and do some things different, and hopefully it pays off.
Sounds like all options are on offer for the 42 team in trying to get to Miami.
Well, Parker, another team trying to make it to Miami is, of course, Ryan Blaney, and had a good run here in the spring. Are people maybe underestimating the 12 car and you as a possibility to make it the championship for, Ryan?
I have no idea. You guys are going to have to tell me. I don't sit around and listen to it, but all we care about is doing the best we can, week in, week out. And I slipped a little bit in qualifying. I thought we were a little bit better than that, but long race today. Hopefully we can work our way forward and have a really good day on our Dex Imaging Ford Mustang.
What is the confidence level, Ryan, knowing how well you did run here in the spring, and this has become one of your better racetracks?
Yeah, the confidence level is high, right? I mean, you come into every weekend with high confidence, but, going from previous races here, like in the spring, maybe the fall race here last year, it was a really different car, but we were running really good until we had a problem. So this is a place where we've gotten a lot better at over the years, so that's good, and hopefully we can rise to the occasion today. Be good.
Just to keep your eye on the 12 car today, finished third here in the spring race.
Marty, those are the two drivers, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, who are both 23 points out. Kyle, you guys talked about this. It does not mean they're out of the equation at all. It is anyone's game.
They're not out. And I think we just have to go back to last week. I think it depends on other people. But Kyle Larson yesterday said the traction compound down here in 3 and 4, will it come in? I'm not sure it came in during that Xfinity race yesterday. How willing is he to jump up there in it? We saw it bite Brad and bite Chase Elliott last week, so that's going to be interesting. The 12 car of Ryan Blaney had the best round so far. He's had the third best round, and he's still below the line.
Still back there, yeah. Just can't make that up. Shows how tough this is. I'm very intrigued by both of these, but I think they both have to be in the mindset that they're going to have to go win this to move on and race for a championship. But we know that if Kyle Larson ever gets there, he might be a real factor and could win the race at Homestead Miami. Got to get there. I'm very intrigued by Kyle Larson today getting up there and trying that, especially late in the race. And he brought up restarts. Oh, my gosh, they're going to be insane here.
Crazy.
afternoon.
And if you're watching, like, okay, why would he go up there if it might not work? Because for him, that's the expressway.
Yeah.
That is his HOV lane. If he can get there and it works, he's going to fly.
He said yesterday he's the best at finding a place to run.
Yeah.
How about that for a reason to watch? Ryan Blaney drives for Team Penske, and the man they call the captain, the boss, Roger Penske, made groundbreaking news earlier this week. It was announced on Monday that Penske bought the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and, well, the entire IndyCar series. Team Penske has won a record 18 Indianapolis 500s, along with multiple championships in IndyCar and NASCAR. As you see, Roger is here today with a chance to see one or possibly two of his drivers advance to the championship 4. And Rutledge, next year, that championship race will be right here in Phoenix. Safe to say these fans are excited?
Oh, unbelievably so, Krista. You know, everywhere you look here at Phoenix, there are fans that have been packing it out all weekend long, a sellout crowd today. And when you pull in, you immediately see the sea of campers. Take a look at just how many RVs are out here. It is in the thousands. They even added 300 more spots this year. That's what track president Julie Giese told us, which means they've got almost 5,000 camping spots. They've got a grocery store out there. Everything that fans could possibly want is here, and the fans are really reacting to all the changes that ISM Raceway made to really bring them front and center for this opportunity. Tickets have gone on sale already for season tickets next year. If you want to come here for the championship, you got to get them mid-February, so mark your calendars. It's going to be amazing here next year and today.
Yeah, we've all been commenting, Rutledge, on that scene. As you drive into the track, you see the campers
everywhere.
Just everywhere.
Crazy.
It is so phenomenal, and we're so glad that everyone's out here. And it's a family atmosphere. You saw them all on their bikes out there as well. The driver with the biggest hole to climb out of is Chase Elliott, the 23-year-old, the youngest playoff driver in the field. He'll tell us why we shouldn't count him out today. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. This is how you Sonic. Tonight, it is Smash Mouth football down in Dallas. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings take on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Coverage begins with Football Night in America at 7 Eastern only on NBC. Back here in Phoenix, using Kyle Petty's analogy from earlier in the show, Chase Elliott, he's only playing offense today. He needs to win. The energy of a semifinal race, the fact that the first 4 rows are 7 of the 8 playoff drivers. Let's head upstairs. Steve Letarte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are in the broadcast booth. Steve Jr., you know Hendrick Motorsports well as anyone. What are Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott capable of today?
Well, I think a win is absolutely in their capabilities. They qualified 6th. When I saw that 9 car in practice, there were times I was a little disappointed with the speed, thought they needed more, but then there were a couple of runs on happy hour that I liked what I saw out of the 9 car.
Yeah, and we've seen that throughout the season, not really, showing up or not on the map or the radar on Friday or Saturday, but in the race, here they come. They worked their way toward the front. They did the same thing at Kansas and put themselves in a position to win there. I think when this race comes down to it, they're going to be in those front 2 rows to restart on those final restarts. He's going to be in the mix. Everybody else is too, though. That's the thing. Whoever is going to advance, I think, take that final position in the 4 has to win today.
Well, and I really think that while the 9 has the biggest hill to climb, all the way at 70 points out, a must-win situation, that almost takes some pressure off. No stages, no strategy, no being conservative. You know the task at hand. It's victory lane or nothing. Alan Gustafson has done that 3 times here with 3 different drivers. Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Kyle Busch have all won here with Alan. I think he could take Chase Elliott to victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's easier for the driver too. When the crew chief and the driver and engineers sit down before the race weekend, they can talk about, hey, this is our objectives. We don't have to worry about stage points, like you said. We just need to worry about getting our car toward the front of the race when it counts at the end of the race. We have to win, so let's strategize that way from start to finish of the race.
Krista, no one wants to be the guy who's 8th on the chart in a must-win situation, but it does make the road clear. Not any simpler, but it's at least clear for Alan and Chase.
Well, and everybody dreams of a walk-off homer in a semifinal race. Junior Motorsports, by the way, will be part of next week's championship finale in the Xfinity Series after Justin Allgaier won yesterday. He will race for the title against the big 3 of Christopher Bell, Cole Custer, and defending series champion Tyler Reddick. It's going to be a fun race down in Miami. But here today, Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, well, they could be the race within the race. We'll hear from them both when Countdown to Green continues here at Phoenix on NBC.
And now, a toast to Sonic Patty Melts. Here's to their sizzling beef, melty cheese, grilled onions, and warm Texas toast. And at a price of just $3.99, cheers indeed.
Did the last few weeks, none of that matters.
Good news is we've been there and we've done that.
Going to Homestead, baby.
Make sure that they can't get close to you.
Oh, yeah. All I do is win, no matter what.
Win the championship. That's the goal.
Miami, baby. Yes.
It's going to be a major battle down in South Florida.
The official app of NASCAR puts live race coverage and in-car cameras at your fingertips. You get a free trial and an ad-free experience just by searching NASCAR in your app store or visit NASCAR.com/mobile. This race is for the entire season, and the front row is the story. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. Let's start with Joey. He's with Dave Burns.
And Joey, coming into this race, Joey has a nice little comfortable cushion at the top points-wise, but it's not enough to get you through. So what's the main focus today, Joey? What has to happen?
We just got to execute and do our race, focus on ourselves. We got a good Shell Pennzoil Mustang that can compete for a win, and that's what we need to do. We score as many points as possible throughout the stages like we've done all year, because obviously the point situation is very close, and especially if one of those other cars win that's outside the top 4 right now. So we need to score points on the 18. That'll make us feel a little bit better. But I tell you what, everyone's starting right next to each other, which is unbelievable. So what you would expect, right? The best is going to be up front. So it's going to be a tough battle, but it's going to be fun.
What are those opening laps going to be like for you, Joey?
We're going to have to wait and find out. There's a lot of questions with the traction compound up there, especially with the cars around you and what they're going to do. So you got to play it smart. Like I said, it's a big day. It's a memorable day either way, and that's what we live for.
Yep. One thing's for sure, they don't want to end it early. Got to start out well, start out fast in the 22 car.
Oh, yeah, you too.
Hey, sorry, Kyle. Hey, how do you like this stat for Kyle Busch? Since they reconfigured this track, he has 100% winning percentage, a couple Cup wins and an Xfinity Series win. The reality is it probably won't require a win out of you today. So how do you kind of play both offense and defense given the point situation you face?
You just go out there and race right now. You just got to play it one lap at a time, one stage at a time, and figure it all out as the event kind of plays out, and go do what you got to do when it comes to the end. So overall, I think our M&M's Camry's been pretty good this weekend. Guys brought a good piece, and certainly looking forward to today.
When we talk about what you've been able to do at this track as of late, then how do you like that this is the place that will decide your fate whether or not you're a part of the championship?
I guess it's a good venue for us, so it's better than some other places we could be at right now. But, anytime you come into these situations, you got to be able to go out there and perform. And I feel like our group has been able to do that. So I hope that we can continue that trend and put ourselves in a good position here to be able to go race for a championship next week.
All right, Kyle, thank you for your time. Krista?
It is going to be good. Dale, with this first stage, the first 75 laps, especially like Joey said, everyone starting next to each other, will that dictate Kyle and Joey's fate, at least throughout the rest of the race?
I think it gives them a little bit clearer picture as to what's going to happen through that. But there's a lot more racing after that. So they're just going to have to try to not only keep themselves out of trouble, but gain the most points that they possibly can. This is going to be so intriguing throughout the afternoon.
Yes, it is. Yeah, listen, the strategies are going to change. The approach is going to change. How the guys go about this race is going to change for everybody except Chase Elliott. He knows what he has to do. But those other guys, it's got a constantly moving target. I don't envy those guys in the booth today trying to explain this to America.
It's a lot to keep track of. So do you guys have a prediction? Who will be the 4 who move on?
Yeah, well, I do have a prediction, and I think it's a Joe Gibbs Racing day. It's been their year.
Ooh.
I think Kyle Busch stays in there, but I think Denny Hamlin finds a way, whether it's winning the race or outpointing Joey Logano. Joey Logano's dodged a lot of bullets in these playoffs.
For the first time, I disagree with Jared and Associates. I think the cream rises to the top. It rose to the top already. These are our 4.
You will see it unfold. You'll also meet a hero who redefines perseverance next. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. This is how you Sonic.
Welcome back to ISM Raceway, Rutledge Wood here on a beautiful Veterans Day weekend. Edward Schrank put his life on the line for this country, and he did it with pride. In his 15-year career with the Marines, the exposure to chemicals in that sacrifice led to 5 different bouts of head and neck cancer. At one point, doctors thought he was going to lose his ability to speak and eat because of losing his jaw potentially, but doctors were able to save it, and he decided at that moment to make a goal to sing the national anthem in front of thousands of people. And with the help of Jim Cornelison, he was able to do that at Soldier Field, at the Ryder Cup, and yesterday here at ISM Raceway. Today, he's going to be singing God Bless America, and we are so honored to have him here with us.
Absolutely. We root for drivers, wear their colors, but our nation's colors and those who fight for them, like Edward Schrank, are the ones we honor today. It is time now for what is sure to be an emotional pre-race ceremony on Veterans Day weekend.
On this Veterans Day weekend, we would like to take a moment to recognize all active military and veterans. We ask that all of our race fans who are currently serving in the military or those who have served on behalf of this great country and their families to please rise. On behalf of all of us, we thank you and are honored for your service. Let's give these brave men and women a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Luke Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Captain Adam Rowe, chaplain at Luke Air Force Base, offers our invocation.
Good and gracious Lord, we come to you today celebrating the best racing teams in the world for today's semifinal. May each driver from position 1 to 39 be fast, smart, safe, and respectful, and please guide the hands of every member in each pit crew. We also thank you on this Veterans Day weekend for every person in attendance who has ever put on the uniform in our nation's defense. Whether airman, marine, soldier, sailor, or coastie, we remember that our freedom is owed to the warriors who've sworn to defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Most especially, we pray for those service members who are currently deployed, and we look forward to the day you return them home safely. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform God Bless America, please welcome United States Marine Corps veteran Edward Schrank.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from Luke Air Force Base, Staff Sergeant Brittany Timpson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and
field. You'll see it next on NBC.